Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to begin the show. Thank you for coming to Trivia Night. Please pick up your cards at the front of the bar. Just kidding. This is not Trivia Night. It's Tracklandia. All right. We're going to kick this thing off. Thank you for all coming. Flo, are we live right now? We're live right now, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome back to Tracklandia, everybody. You can go ahead and applaud now if... All right. This is the fourth stop on our brewery tour, which we will continue until the end of time. We're meeting at Occidental Brewing here in St. John's in the shadow of the St. John Bridge. It is an epic evening here. The sun's setting nicely, just dancing off the towers. We've got Canadian hero and North American marathon king in the house, Cam Levins. First, we're going to do a few housekeeping notes before we bring him up to the stage. Once again, thank you all for joining us this evening. It's a pleasure to go out on the jog and see the colors of all the different running groups around, too. We've got Jay back out here, flying the black, Rose City Track Club, a few others, the Red Lizards. Do we have the Bowerman Track Club in the house, too? We do? All right. So let's kick it off with the Shamrock run. That happened recently. There was a great showing there. Much has been made of the 8K race that took place at Shamrock. Results broadcasted throughout the country, and people have been commenting just on the strength of running in our city based on the results that they saw coming off of NATO. The 8K was ridiculous. There was prize money this time, so that drew out. It doesn't take much prize money to draw the best out, dust off the cobwebs, and put on some super shoes and make things happen. The race was won in 23:16 by Craig Nowak. An amazing performance. Yeah. I think the only man who's run faster in Portland is Cam Levins on a Tuesday in St. John's, North Marine Drive. But we also had 9 men run under 24 minutes, which is completely unheard of. Back in my day, if you ran under 25, that really made it for you. Women's race won in 26:43, and 3 women under 27 minutes, 8 women under 28 minutes. So the strength is evident here in the Rose City. And we still have Ali Sheikh's $50 third place check, too. So Ali Sheikh, please get in touch with me, and we will give you that check. Great running across the board. Next year, we're working with Shamrock Run on a combined distance club scored competition. So across all distances, prize money and club scoring there, and expanded after party as well. That means multiple kegs. Yeah, I know you'd like that. Summer schedule this year, we have Portland Track Festival, which will take place on June 3rd and 4th at Mount Hood Community College. Lewis and Clark is under construction at this moment. They are tearing down their grandstand and putting back a new and improved one. We hope they build it with wood. We'll see if we can put in a request there. But Portland Track Festival, this is the premier track event in the city. And it's a time for the whole running community in Portland to showcase what we're all about and all come together and be good hosts for the rest of the country and showcase what we have to the world. So there's races for all. Many high-performance sections throughout the afternoon. You got masters races, middle school races, high school races, but it's capped off with the most prestigious, one of the most prestigious pro meets in the United States with the Hot Window in the evening. And the events in the Hot Window will be a World Athletics tiered level meeting, so more expanded prize money and big plans for the top level 1500s this year. Stay tuned for that. There will be a beer garden, food trucks. What makes this event special, of course, though, is all of you. So this is, like we said, this is a chance to showcase the Portland running community and what we're all about. When Portland comes out, we have something that nowhere else in the country has, which is packing the stands with passionate, track fans that love the sport, do it for each other, and showcase the proud community that we've built. So mark your calendars, June 3rd and 4th. Spread the word, invite everyone you know. Tell them what a big deal it is to race at PTF. All right. Yeah, first rule of PTF is you talk about PTF. Remember that. Then we have Rose City Mile and Stumptown Twilight on June 24th. More information will come out about that soon. We're working with the Rose City Track Club to join forces, so we'll have the famous Rose City Mile coupled with more high-performance races with the Stumptown event, and that'll be a good qualifier and tune-up for USAs. So keep your ear to the ground, more information soon. Of course, we have the pre-classic coming up September 16th and 17th with our friends down I-5 in Tracktown, and we're shortening the I-5. Let's rally the troops and make it down there for the Diamond League final. Keep your eyes open for Diamond League watch parties in the city here, too. We'll be doing some of those. Maybe we'll be doing some friendly wagering as well. All right. Well, I think that's enough news and notes. Let's invite up the man himself who just placed 5th in Tokyo at the World Major there, the Sauvie Island Slammer, the Stallion of St. John's, the newly minted Canadian and North American marathon record holder, Cam Levins, ladies and gentlemen. Cam, go ahead and pick up that microphone there. Thanks for being here, man.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Congratulations. I mean, it was an epic race out there in Tokyo, and 2:05. That took Canucci's North American record by 2 seconds, I believe. Is that right? 2 seconds. Was that on your mind going into the race at all, the North American record?
I had an idea of what it was, but actually, even in the last few kilometers, I only had an idea of, like, it's mid 205s maybe, but is there something? Yeah.
Oh, we don't want to touch mics here, but I think there's an. We're up right now.
Is this good? Is this
Testing.
testing? Did that work? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is.
There we go. Yeah, so I had some idea of what it was entering the last few kilometers, but I actually didn't know until like I was in drug testing later, and we're like, I think I was close. Maybe we should go and see what the record is, just to get an idea. And then obviously saw that I got it by a couple seconds, and so, you know, late celebration, or delayed celebration, but very excited. Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay.
What's it doing? Are we good? All right, we're good. Everybody's safe, don't worry. These are all professionals up here. So, back to the race. What was the goal going into the race then? If the North American record was an afterthought there.
Well, main goal was being in solid position for Olympic selection. And so, you know, at least getting standard of 2:08:10 would put me in a strong position for selection from Canada. And obviously, I'm in a very good position now. It takes something pretty unprecedented, I think, to knock me out of selection for Paris. But I mean, from the very beginning, I knew I wanted to go with the lead race, or like the leaders of Tokyo, and so like especially in the last 10 or 12 kilometers, it's just about trying to win the race.
Yeah, and you were the Canadian record holder going into this race too, and you broke the Canadian record the very first time you ran the distance, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So how has your focus shifted from? Was it ever about pursuing records, or was it more about getting to the front of those races and competing for wins on the world level?
I like this sport, especially for being able to, you know, pit myself against other athletes and, you know, compete to the very end of these races. And so it's taken a while, I think, to build up to this level where that's what the marathon is becoming for me. But I mean, certainly initially it was just about pursuing times and trying to better my own personal best. But I'm able to obviously get that other side of it that I really enjoy. That's it keeps me going and pushing to new levels.
Nice. I like to hear that you're a racing man first and foremost. That's what the sport's all about, in my book, at least.
It's my favorite part.
That's amazing to hear. Let's talk about the race a little bit. So Tokyo, first of all, it always amazes me that you can go into a place that's however many hours away, the time difference, and the food is so different where you're going to. How do you line up all those details for a race like the marathon, where things have to be dialed with your digestive system and planned out?
With Tokyo, that was a little bit of a concern. But because the time difference was so massive, it was like 17 hours. It was almost just like being a full day ahead. And so there actually wasn't as significant jet lag as there is sometimes with going over to European races. So I felt like I at least made that transition pretty quickly. But yes, of course, the food is really different. Basically just was trying to find someplace that had rice and a little bit of meat, and just trying to not go too wild until after the race. But that can be a major concern.
So you don't lean on the golden arches at that point.
Not right before, but I like my golden arches for sure.
Oh yeah, well, you do live in America here, so
that's right. Yeah.
So you're not on Savi Island here, like in Tokyo. There's a lot of different things going on, major players in the race. These aren't cyclists that are around you, because every time we see you out there on Savi Island, you're chasing that Savi Island shootout with the cyclist pack. But how did you position yourself early in the race, and then when did you start to really compete there?
So, I mean, while the pacers are in, I find that the most important thing is just staying on your feet and successfully getting your bottle every 5K when there's a massive pack of other runners also trying to get their bottles. And I actually had a mishap at about 15K in where I had to stop, turn around, go back and grab my bottle because I wasn't able to see it well with all of the bottles, and it was in the back row of my table. So those things still happen. And yeah, I mean.
So do you think you lost time there, or did you?
Well, I mean, I got back in pretty quick, but I think that early in the race, it didn't make a significant difference because everyone's just kind of locked in at that one pace. And it's the sort of thing that happens to everyone. It's just like you expect something to go wrong, basically. But yeah, besides that, I feel like I've managed my pace well. It's really about finding a good rhythm early on too, and finding what feels relaxed for you, regardless of what I think the front of the group is doing. Because even the pacers will shift forward and backwards, and they're not running an exactly even pace. So I think it's about finding your own while still sort of keeping a connection with that pack.
Yeah, and it's interesting the longer the race gets too, and the marathon is a very long race
Yes.
by anybody's standards. But you say that you're gauging your own pace, but your goal is still to go out and compete for the win too. So at what point does your pace and where you set up, where you've set yourself up, shift into thinking about, okay, now all that's out the window, I'm just going for the front here?
I find probably about 25K in is usually when I start worrying about how close I am towards the front of the race, because I feel like anyone can make a move from about that far out. Or people feel, I think, a bit more brave that close to the end of the race. And so at that point, I think you need to be ready to match moves where early on you can don't have to be as worried about that. And I mean, it's possible that something will happen earlier in the race, but I still think it's wasted effort to be battling at the front of the pack that early on. So that's about where I found so far that it's important to be up near the front to make sure you don't miss any big breaks.
And 5th place for a world major in Tokyo. When did it hit you afterwards? Did you know all along that you were on this pace and this is the result that you were expecting to achieve, or was it a realization that happened afterwards that you dropped this much time from your previous PR 207 low to this time here?
I mean, I definitely went out with that intent. I mean, you don't, at least I don't feel like you should casually go at 2:04:30 pace for the marathon without an expectation that you're able to run like that. And so going in, I felt confident with where my training had put me. And actually, I did a half marathon a few weeks beforehand. And
another Canadian record.
Yes, another big PR for me. Just over 60 minutes. And so I had a lot of confidence coming off that as well, that a couple minutes slower out would feel fairly comfortable. So
let's go back to your very first marathon, Toronto in 2018. 2:09:25, and that's a Canadian record. In that race, who won that race? Do you remember?
I can't at this point.
Where were you in the finishing results there?
I was 4th. I do
Okay.
remember that, yeah.
And at that point, what did you think, your first marathon, coming off of that, what did you think, this is what these guys have up front, and this is what I need to work on in order to get up with them?
Yeah, I think I had such a good experience in my first marathon that I maybe underestimated what it would take to get beyond where I was. I just felt like, even with experience, with continuing to stay healthy and training well, I'd naturally progress a bit more. But I really had a lot of difficulty in the next few years. I struggled to qualify for the Olympics from there, even though 2:09:25, which I ran, was still a good minute underneath what Olympic standard was for Tokyo. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't really figure that out until after the Olympics, where I just, truly felt that I was on such a level below the top athletes in the world, despite how hard I felt I was already training. And from there, I really went back and looked at all the training we'd been doing up to that point, and systematically went through every piece of it, and asked myself, how can we make this better? That's the following year. Obviously went to the World Championships, placed 4th, had a huge PR, and that was confirmation that I still had it, and still had the ability to improve, I think.
So that was last year in Eugene, 4th place at the World Championships there, and that was the 2:07:09 as well. So same question from there too. What did you see at that point, coming in 4th there, just shy of the podium, but an amazing finish? What were the things? And it sounds like from the first marathon, it was like, oh, I got to keep grinding, keep doing what I'm doing, keep tightening the bolts all across the spectrum. But are there things now that you're thinking, okay, this is the specific thing that I need to work on in order to make that next jump?
Yeah, I mean, that was the conversation we started having right after Tokyo. I mean, Eugene was a little bit different. I was, out of the race for the lead quite a bit earlier on, but still feel like I just kind of lost over the last few kilometers with the group that I was in, and again in the last kilometer here at Tokyo. And so, yeah, I mean, we're really just looking on what I need to do to be ready to sprint like that at the end of a marathon. And I think it might just be a matter of being that much more fit, or it might be something else, but that's a question we're asking right now. And, I think trying some different things to hopefully progress like that. I mean, some of the things we're looking at is just pace change really late in workouts, finishing workouts especially harder. I mean, at this point, I really focus on just trying to keep even through workouts and not concerning myself too much with really pushing the end of them. But I think we're just trying to make sure we don't get to the next marathon, find out that nothing has changed after I've not done anything about it. Rather, do everything I can and hopefully be able to learn from the next one as well.
Yeah, well, I think, back to your college days at Southern Utah, that was kind of your calling card, too, being able to pace change at the end of races, and you were doing that better than anybody earlier than a lot of kids do these days, too, being able to drop crazy last quarters and 200s and championship races off of a fast pace. So, I mean, if I'm your coach, I think it's there. Obviously, I'm not your coach, and Jim Finlayson does a great job. He was coached by my coach as well, Ronnie Warhurst at Michigan. Yeah, so great man. Beer mile legend too.
Yeah.
I believe his nickname is the Gastric Ghost, which is amazing. What a man.
I didn't know that, but that is funny.
Yeah. I think you could, call him GG, I guess, from now on, if you want to. But so the finishing there, these guys can shift gears so well at the end of marathons. You see that's what happens when it's all packed up and people start to move. So that's the focus going forward for you here.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not hard to run that fast in the last kilometer of a race that you're already been running hard for 41K, and so it's just not easy, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, as Ronnie always said, you got enough speed. We just got to get you around the track enough times to use it.
Yeah, that's certainly possible at this point.
Well, let's think about Portland here for a second. This is your home in St. John's. We're all lucky to be here in this beautiful Occidental Brewery here. Portland has many running destinations here. We've got Leif Erikson. We've got Wildwood, Sauvie Island, beautiful places, the Fairmont Loop, the waterfront, Springwater, Mount Tabor. Am I missing any places, any beautiful spots? Willamette Boulevard. What makes North Marine Drive? Give us your impassioned pitch for the fertile training grounds of North Marine Drive here.
Well, I mostly started doing it just because there wasn't many people out there. I was just like, well, it's kind of my own place to be running without running into many other people.
So the better running grounds are too crowded here in Portland.
Sort of, yeah. But I mean, it was also nice just to be able to. It's a long stretch without interruptions, being able to do workouts. Obviously, nothing too exciting to see out there besides the Kelly Point Trail at the very end of my runs. But it's just
shipping containers and semi trucks blowing by you.
It's not an exciting route, but it gets the job done. But I am running up in Leif Erikson more now too, getting some more hills up there.
I saw that you're hitting the trails lately. I follow you on Strava closely just to check out North Marine Drive. But yeah, you did one out there that was just an out and back for 18 miles, a progression run there. And I think it's
that's right.
Is that a 2-mile stretch that you just back and forth?
You're really calling me out here. Yeah.
I've dove into the training here.
For a lot of these marathon workouts, I like to make sure I get back to my vehicle every 5K to grab a bottle.
Okay, I see.
And so
is your 5K a semi-truck? Or, is your vehicle a semi-truck? Sorry.
No,
just so it fits in out there on North Marine Drive.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to spot it even if...
Is it an F-150?
I don't think I should reveal.
That's right. Yeah, we won't. Yeah, it is an F-150, but yeah, we won't say that. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, you got it. He's trying to get away from people here, Lauren. But sorry.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you.
You got to get back to your vehicle every 5K for bottles out there.
That's what I have been doing. I mean, it's easy enough also to drive out, place the bottles every 5K. Like if out at Savi, I often would do that, just hide them every 5K for a loop. But I don't know. I kind of like having to turn around. This is like weird to say, but turn around every like 2.5K or whatever, just because like you kind of have to take these tight corners sometimes in marathons and races, and having to like slow down to turn, speed back up while you're doing these paces.
Yeah.
I find it kind of beneficial. I know it's
hey,
not an exciting thing, but
you got to be proud of this, man. You're a blue collar guy training out there on North Marine Drive. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. I actually love this. I love that you're out there and just grinding solo, living the dream. Like it's a very Rocky-esque like training montage thing out there. That's what I'm imagining actually. As I look at your Strava and I play this movie out in my head. That's what I'm seeing.
Well, I do have to say that there's a lot of Amazon drivers and semi-drivers that at this point are honking at me and waving. They're going by because they see me out there so much.
The people's champ. Yeah.
So I'm getting recognized for how much I'm out there at this point, which is pretty funny.
Well, I think that leads right into our next segment here. You're an ASICS man now, and the shoes have done great for you.
Yeah, they've been great.
I listened to your Shakeout podcast with Kate Van Buskirk, and you gave a glowing recommendation for them. I need to get some myself. But we have a few options here that we could decorate your ASICS singlet with, too, if we can NASCAR it up a little bit. Like, hear us out. All right, here they are. We've got Oregon Metal Services. You've got a steely-eyed determination to serve. We've got JB Hunt Transport. Right? They're out there trucking your goods across North America in record time. See, we're pitching these things. American Tire Distributors, even though you're Canadian, have the confidence in your tread when you drop the clutch and are revving like Levins. That's a good one, right?
Yeah, that's some thought put into that, yeah, for sure.
And then Shred It, too, a shredding company. Bring your old record books to 5387 North Marine Drive, and we'll shred them like Levins. Right? See,
I'm open to it.
These are all good businesses dotting the stretch here at North Marine Drive, and all the interns that put that together have since been fired too. So that's good.
It's good stuff. Yeah.
But back to the workout scene here. It seems like you're a guy who never fears going into a workout. Is that true?
I guess at this point, I've gotten to where I know I can get the best out of myself on that day, sort of regardless of what the workout's going to be. And so, within the first repeat or two, I get a good feel of how I'm doing on that day, and I can just sort of judge what my pace should be for the rest of the workout. And so, I don't think there's any reason to be afraid. Like, if you go in with a goal pace and you're not hitting that goal pace, and then you get frustrated and decide to cut the workout short or whatever, I think that starts to build up and become a frustration or a fear going into new ones, being like, can I complete this? Can I, do it well? But as long as you go in with an idea of getting the effort that you need for that workout, you're going to be just fine, and that's really what it comes down to. You can't expect perfection every day.
How do you balance that mindset too of hitting your times in workouts and they're tough workouts too, with having lofty goals? And does that shake your confidence in your goals if you have a rough workout there, or how do you deal with that?
Well, I think at some point you have to remember the base of work that you have beyond just the one workout. Like if one single workout was what made or break, like, you know, is what made you ready to race at your best, then what's the point of months and months of doing them over and over again? You could just nail one and be ready to go. And I think we all know that's not how it works. So, yeah, I mean, getting focused on how one goes positively or negatively, I think can put you in the wrong place going into a race. It's what you're consistently doing, workout after workout after workout, that you can average out, I think is what shows you what you can do.
All right. So I just need to keep doing the workouts then.
Keep doing the workouts. Yeah, there's no easy secret to success, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Oh man, I got to get out to North Marine Drive at some point because it sounds like that's where the magic happens.
Yeah, I mean it's great. You know, I've really been underselling it here. It's just you know, sidewalk as far as you can see. No one out there to disturb you. Yeah, it's excellent.
We were thinking of changing the name to, after your record, North American Marine Drive. If that would work. Just a nice little sign out there.
That'd be great. Yeah.
We'll talk to JB Hunt out there. I think since you were just in Tokyo, Japanese marathon culture is huge, and they've got an amazing scene there and lots of depth and a lot of people rallying around that. Can you give us some pointers? Like, what are some takeaways from you that we could bring back to the States that they've done really well out there?
Well, you were just talking about me being fearless going into workouts. Well, that is how they are going into races. Through the first 20 or 25K of this race in Tokyo, it seemed like every single Japanese runner in that race, or Japanese elite runner in that race, I should say, was with the lead going for it. And, you know, they had a few athletes that stuck it out and, you know, weren't too far behind me. So, you know, they are really willing to get after it and put themselves out there. I can't speak to what their training looks like at all, but, you know, they really are willing to get after it in the marathon. And, you know, the country really respects the event, and I think...
Yeah, how does that happen? How does that fan base rally around this sport?
Well, I mean, I can say in Tokyo, the course was just lined with people the entire time, and you could hear people, you know, yelling out specific athletes' names, like almost constantly. So, you know, they had their fan base as well going into this, even for the depth and amount of runners there were. And so I don't know whether it's just that the media is there for them big time, and then, you know, everyone seems to have their big fan base too. Mm-hmm.
Is that, I mean, there are teams developed around different corporations in Japan too, and it's a different kind of funding structure there. I mean, I've always loved the idea of city teams, which is why we love bringing people like you on who are based in Portland, and we can cheer for you. And like you're a Canadian athlete, but you're one of us here in Portland.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've lived here for a long time. I mean, Portland is definitely my home at this point.
Yeah.
For a large portion of my life, I've been here, you know, nearly as long as I lived in Canada at this point. So.
I think we need a major road race in Portland too that can showcase the types of athletes that we have. And I'm of the mindset that there are a lot of big marathons out there. We have a Portland Marathon too. What's a good distance that we could tackle here in Portland that we want to, if we were to blow up a world-class road race where the wins really matter and it's about racing, because you're a racer, like what's a distance that we could tackle here in Portland? 2-mile road race. Yeah.
Well, I mean...
We got 4 out there. Do we hear higher?
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of like very famous mile road races in places, you know, and you get things. Well, obviously, there's the very famous Fifth Avenue Mile. But even growing up in my home in Canada, we had the Fifth Street Mile, which you know was a big Canada Day race that they did every year and had a huge turnout for. And so, I mean, maybe finding the big street in all these major cities to do a mile in the way they have it set up for Fifth Avenue could be a really cool thing to do.
Well, we'd have to get you out there. Would you jump in the mile?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
totally. Yeah, a road mile? For sure, yeah.
Let's do it. Well, yeah, as if we're talking about lower distances now, any track racing in your future?
I'm still sort of planning out the season, but definitely there'll be track races again in the future. I did a little bit last year, and I found it really beneficial going into my build towards the World Championships. So I do want to incorporate that, or at least shorter distance racing, whether that's going to be sometimes shorter road races as well. But yeah, no, I mean, still love running on the track when I get the chance. I still work out down at Dunaway when I can. So yeah, no, I'm into track.
Well, as you know, we've got a pretty great track meet here coming up June 3rd and 4th. There is 10,000 there. So if you're interested in the 5,000 or 10,000 or 800, either one, we got a spot on the line for you. Portland would love to see you race. So no pressure at all, but just putting it out there for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll give it
Just
some thought, yeah.
keep it in mind. All right, we don't want to take up too much more of your time here. So we've got just kind of a fire round of questions here. So favorite place to run in Portland besides North Marine Drive, of course?
Definitely Leif Erikson. Yeah, I love going up into Forest Park, yeah.
Isn't it, I mean, I ran there yesterday too, and it was foggy in the morning, and you just get those patches of like fog, and then it like bursts of sun coming through the trees, and I mean, a lot of people say, it's too rocky up there, but
It's really only rocky for the first mile, and then like again really late into it. But I don't find it bad for the large portion of it.
yeah, no, of course not. You know what's rocky? North Marine Drive, not Leif Erikson. Come on. I agree with you. Leif Erikson is definitely, it's one of the most beautiful running destinations you can get to, so close to a city too. It's great. What is your best Sauvie Island loop?
My best Sauvie Island loop.
So the 12-mile loop that goes around Sauvie.
As in like best time?
Yeah,
or best?
let's go with best time. And then let's go with just your best, like you had a great time or something like that.
Well, I sometimes do like half marathon time trials around there.
Yeah.
And a couple years back, I time trialed like a 61 around.
Is
there.
that solo?
My wife driving with me a little bit, but
61. Yeah, wife driving next to you. I mean, I knew the answer to this. It's 56:58, because I saw it on Strava, because I dove deep in the Strava. And you are the course record holder out there. I mean, you run a 61 half, and that's what you're gonna get. So you're king of the roads at Sauvie Island. Nobody's touching that for a while, I don't think.
yeah, I'm not like the kind of guy that tries to chase the segments around Sauvie, but it is kind of cool to like see the athletes that have ran around Sauvie and like, you know, where you stack up on their runs. So that's, you know, Strava's great in that way.
I think it's cool for us is if we're talking about just kind of getting fans in the city behind certain runners too. That's a loop that's heavily trafficked by all of us and the public out here. And to see like, oh, this is a name like this. Somebody who's running a 205 marathon has the record out here. It feels like we're attached to it a little bit more, and like you're representing all of us when you go out, and like, hey, that's the guy who has the Sauvie Island record, and he just got 5th in Tokyo. It's pretty cool.
Well, thank you. I do wish they'd give us a bit more of a shoulder out there, though.
I do too. Yeah.
When is that happening?
Yeah, it's those guys in the F-150s out there, huh? See?
That's
It's-
right, yeah. Yeah, sorry, that's me.
Yeah, that's you out there. You're making sure nobody takes the record from you. Just cruising Savi.
Yeah.
Favorite Portland restaurant?
Favorite Portland restaurant. Well, probably the one we've gone to the most over the years is just Thai Cottage here in St. John's.
Oh, nice.
So like that's definitely our most done one.
What's the dish? What's your favorite dish?
There's pad thai and yellow curry.
Nice. Good
Yeah.
choices. And this is from the crowd out here too. Most interesting wildlife you've seen on the Columbia River Slough?
Most interesting one.
Yeah. Are there nutrias out there?
Nutrios?
Yeah. Do they have them out there on the slough? They're like the muskrat-looking things.
Yep. I've seen those.
Yeah.
Yes. Ran into a coyote once, which was pretty wild.
A standoff.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, it basically just like kept looking back at me, running forward, looking back at me, running forward, until I finally had a spot to kind of get out of there. But
Yeah, that's a coyote thing to do. I used to do that. I grew up in the vineyards, and they would just they'd keep the same distance, and they were never afraid.
yeah, that's about right.
That's so coyote, most interesting thing on the Columbia River
mean,
Slough. There you go, Olivia.
yeah.
That was your question. Coyote. We're serving the people out here. All right. Well, that's it for me actually, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. Do you have any questions for me while we're up here? Actually,
Where's your next stop in the brewery tour?
we haven't figured that out yet, but we will take requests from the crowd here. So, if you have any requests too, let us know, and we hope to see you at the next one as well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
But yeah, thanks for coming out. We love you here in Portland, and we love what you do. We'll lay claim to your record too. It's for St. John's and it's
St.
for
John's.
Portland as well. Consider the entire city behind you wherever you go from now on.
Well, thank you. That's very kind to say.
Yeah, you have the key.
Right.
All right, Cam Levins, everybody.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time, Tracklandia.